In this video, I want to talk to you about how on earth you are meant to remember everything for your CeMAP exam. So this is relevant whether you're about to sit CeMAP 1, CeMAP 2 or CeMAP 3, and it's helpful if you've done none of them just yet, because if you've ever picked up the textbook, it is weighty. It's massive. And one thing that 99.9% of us won't be able to do is memorize every single word out of your textbook. The problem is some of your exam questions that you'll get presented with on exam day will want you to know the exact word for word sentence. But there is a way that you can kind of get around this without figuring out how to get a photographic memory. So the first thing that I will say is you need to keep your study sessions short. I cannot tell you how many students every single week message me and they go, Charlotte, I'm doing the mock papers over and over again. I am just getting worse. I'm spending 5 or 6 hours a day trying to study. Unbelievably, some people turn around and say they're spending like 9 or 10 hours a day because they're not working at the minute, and they're just getting worse. Those people have burnt out. Actually, if you want to have the best study sessions, they should not be for any more than half an hour. And that goes whether you're using just a textbook or whether you're using something like an e-learning platform. Now, what I found is actually people who use the e-learning platform, because it's interactive, you can probably extend that to 45 minutes to an hour. But after that point, anything that you do after that 45-minute point is effectively useless. Your brain is just not going to be able to remember the information. So the biggest tip for remembering stuff for your exam day is to stop spending so much time revising. Yes, you can get through the material in 5 days. My masterclass students have sat with me Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, sat their exams the day after and passed. It is possible, but it's unlikely to be done with just a textbook alone. You can do it with an e-learning platform because it's broken down a little bit different, and I'll give you a guide on how to do it. But if you are the type of person that is studying for 2 or 3 hours a night and you feel like you're not getting anywhere, you need to give yourself a longer time frame to study, because most of you will be working your CeMAP studies around other stuff. The other problem that people tend to face is that they will do their first topic, for example, and then they work their way through 29 topics in your CeMAP 2 and 3 textbook, but they never revisit topic 1. So there is a way that you can combat this. And the single best thing I suggest that you do is go and buy the mock exam papers direct from the Walbrook Institute's website. So once you've registered for your CeMAP exam, you can log into your LIBF portal. There is an option to purchase extra study material. If you don't already have access to something like my e-learning platform, which comes with exam style questions in it, go and buy their papers, because those papers are going to replicate what your exam will look like. The questions will not be identical, but they will give you a feel for it, and it's really going to test your knowledge across the board. If you've been studying for 6 months and you haven't looked at topic 1 since you finished it 5.5 months ago, there's a good chance you're going to have forgotten it. So how do you combat that? With flashcards. I talk on and on about flashcards, but I cannot tell you how important they are. I had a one-to-one with a student last week who actually said he was making his own digital flashcards. So he had a document that when he opened it, he would effectively type his own sentence, and when he clicked on it, it would expand the sentence down. If you are that tech savvy, amazing, do that, because for him, he could sit on the tube and he could open it up and click into them, and it was that active recall that I talk about. If it is that you are not as tech savvy as he was, the good old flashcards works just as well. And you can get anybody to help you out with these flashcards. If you have any person in your house who is capable of reading, they can test you on them until you are both sick and tired of CeMAP. The reason that you need to revisit those topics is because of the memory curve. And the memory curve is the concept of everything that you watch in this video right now, you'll remember 100% of it after watching it. After an hour, that's probably going to have dropped to 95%, then 90%. In 7 days' time after watching this video, you will only remember 20% of what I spoke about. That's because your memory forgets the things it doesn't think it needs to store. The best way to combat the memory curve is repetition. So if you have flashcards that you can revisit for topic 1 when you're in topic 25, it is the single best exercise that you can do to keep your knowledge fresh across the board. What you find with people who sit their CeMAP exams is very often, especially with CeMAP 2, which is currently split into 4 units, they are changing it to 2 units. But with the 4 units, people would either fail the first unit or the last unit. If they fail the first unit, it's because they haven't revisited the material. If they fail the last unit, it's just because they're fatigued and they've got nothing left to give. And that's probably because they've not done enough exam practice as a whole. So you need to be practicing those mock papers as a whole activity, sat down, no distractions. It's good if you can do them in 5-minute bursts, but it is nowhere near as effective as sitting 100 questions at once, because you probably don't realize just how much brain space that's going to take. And you'll find you are absolutely exhausted after doing it. So that's another really key way of not forgetting all the stuff that you've learned. And one of my favorite tools is a cheat sheet. So at the end of every topic, again, this is whether you're using the textbook or an interactive platform, write down 5 to 10 bullet points of what you think the key areas are. That's helpful alongside the flashcards. For every Sunday, you can just do a quick skim read. That will help combat the memory curve problem. And the very last piece is mindset. If you are exhausted, if you feel particularly anxious about your exam, if you are the person that is still up at 2 o'clock in the morning, scrolling through Facebook groups, reading about worst case scenarios for CeMAP exams, you are not going to retain a thing, because you're going to feel like you're working really, really hard, but actually nothing is sticking. So schedule your study time like gym sessions. Put them in your calendar on your phone, set an alarm, set a reminder, and set them for no more than, I would say, half an hour if you're doing it with the textbook. Maybe take an extra 15 minutes if you're using something like the e-learning platform. The trick is to study smart, not study forever. So remember, stop memorizing. Aim to try and understand the material. The flashcards are a great way of doing that. It's also helpful for things like repetition and spaced reviews. Test yourself as often as you can and build your own cheat sheet. Now, if you're struggling with your CeMAP studies at the minute, you are not on your own. There are so many different ways that I can help. I'd absolutely recommend you check out 12 hours worth of completely free e-learning material. If you click the link in the description, you don't have to put your bank details in. There's no expiry date on the access. You just log in and there's a bunch of stuff that you can access for free. It will really help level up the more complicated bits if you're just studying with a textbook. And if you decide you want to go on and buy it, great. There's also my 60 days to CeMAP strategy, which is 60 days worth of emails that are designed to help you pass your CeMAP exam. So there's loads of hints and tips in there as well. And remember, if you've liked this video or if there's any other topics that you would like me to cover going forward, give it a like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button.